Chanukah, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim ha'hem lazman hazeh. Hanukkah starts on Christmas Day this year, and hopefully I get this up before Hanukkah's over. I lit all 8 candles just in case. Now, growing up in the 2000s as a Jewish kid, it meant the ultimate Hanukkah special was a Rugrats Hanukkah. And it's still probably the ultimate animated Hanukkah special, which really isn't a high bar because there aren't many. Because in nearly 30 years, no other show has put in the time or effort to make a truly iconic Hanukkah special. Scratch that. One show very recently did that. And that is the Ghost and Molly McGee.
You and me for all time. I'm never, ever, ever gonna be alone again.
The Ghost and Molly McGee, if you don't know, tells the wacky adventures of 13-year-old Molly McGee and the ghost Scratch, who lives in her family's attic. Due to a curse gone awry, the two are bonded forever as besties. Molly's human best friend is Libby Stein Torres. For all intents and purposes, we're just gonna have Libby Stein Torres as just Jewish. And in the season 1 episode, The Festival of Lights, Libby invites Molly and her family over to her mother's bookshop to celebrate the last night of Hanukkah. But a citywide blackout changes their plans, with Mrs. Stein Torres having the only working generator. The citizens of Brighton, Molly's town, gather in the shop and have a Hanukkah celebration for the ages. And of course, this being a Hanukkah special, there's an allusion to the miracle of the oil, which is the generator, which only has enough power or gas to last an hour, ends up lasting 8, which is just enough time for the power to the entire city to be restored. A little cheesy, but definitely not the worst thing, because the real focus is on the celebration. The episode shows the events of each hour, which range from traditional things like playing dreidel, eating fried foods, to a silly spelling contest to see who can spell Hanukkah correctly.
Welcome to the first annual Mega McGee Hanukkah Spelling Bee. Your first and only word is Hanukkah. H-A-N-A?
Can you use it in a sentence?
H-A-N-U. I want to say C?
I'm afraid you all lose. There are 16 acceptable spellings, McGees.
And then there's very emotional moments, like a spoken word poem by Libby.
Their temple was dark, destroyed by the fight. All they had were a few drops of oil to light. But the flame kept burning all through the night. Look, they said, still lit.
And a moment shared between Libby's mom and a woman who stopped by the store who saw the menorah in the window. There's also a flashback that shows Libby's great-grandparents living in Europe during the start of World War II. And I think we need more of that. I mean, we have special episodes that deal with racial discrimination, gender identity, and sexuality, all of which are very necessary. But as a Jewish woman, it's rare that I see Judaism presented in any other way than slightly exotic as best, especially in most shows, since they'll just have a character mention offhandedly they're Jewish in their winter holiday special. And in just one of them, mind you, then they never really reference it. Like, you never get a lot more Jewish traditions. And the Ghost of Molly McGee doesn't just have Libby's Judaism be a one-off thing. There's an episode with her bat mitzvah.
For months I've been studying Hebrew, practicing my Torah portion, and trying on dresses which have given me stress hives and contact hives.
Ugh.
But it'll all be worth it, because while I'm a girl today, on Saturday I shall become a woman.
And had the show not gotten canceled, there would have been a Purim episode. Purim! I have never seen Purim ever depicted on American TV, let alone a children's show. I got a hold of the script from one of the writers, and it manages to have the episode's antagonist be a straight up anti-Semite and very barely disguised white supremacist. I wish I could have seen this because, man, it would have pissed people off, but it would have been great. We really need a win. But that's for a later date. Let's get back to the Hanukkah episode. The Festival of Lights goes above and beyond in showing how Hanukkah is celebrated. Libby's family is shown to have their own Hanukkah traditions, like the miracle box. And my favorite moment of the episode precedes the crystal knock moment, and it's when a woman stops by the bookshop after noticing the menorah in the window.
Excuse me? I'm Abby. I run the bakery down the street.
Ah, yes, I remember.
You know, it's funny. I was raised Jewish, but then I moved to Brighton, and I kind of lost touch with that part of myself. Seeing your menorah, it reminds me of home.
And this is poignant because we also don't see a lot of this depicted in the media. It's common for Jewish people to lose touch with traditions and Judaism as they've gotten older. I'm sure a lot of people who are like children of immigrants, children of many non-white, non-Christian, non-predominantly American cultures can really relate to that. I mean, it's true for me. I'm further away from my family, and I currently don't belong to any synagogue. I haven't been to a regular Saturday service in ages, probably since I was in like middle school. So that part spoke to me. Being Jewish in a predominantly Christian society isn't easy. Like, not just because of the anti-Semitism, but because of the way Judaism functions is so different from Christianity that, like, unless you're involved directly in the community already, it's very hard when you're not around other Jewish people. I love everything about this episode, and while it does do the whole explaining Hanukkah thing that pretty much every show does, which at this point I'm just kind of tired of it, like, really, I have to remember that most people in the US and most people in the world probably haven't met a Jewish person. And it doesn't take up the whole episode. It goes deeper than most. It's not just lighting the menorah. It's not just dreidel and gelt. It's not just, no Santa, how could they? Usually shows don't go that in depth about the holiday. And they just heavily sanitize it. And I'm glad this wasn't the case for the Ghost and Molly McGee. Like, I always get frustrated by watching Christmas specials where if Hanukkah gets mentioned, it's to add diversity points by pointing out a character is Jewish or for a short joke, and it's never really tackled what the holiday can mean to people. And like, when we do have Hanukkah episodes, it's mainly in children's media, because children's media is meant to teach, and especially about diversity, but I don't think a lot of them do a very good job. They get so much wrong. For example, the show Elena of Avalor, a Disney Channel spinoff of Sophia the First, had a Hanukkah episode, which was supposed to have the added bonus of focusing on Sephardic traditions, which are dramatically underrepresented in the US, because most of the Jewish traditions that you, my viewers, know of, those are Ashkenazi traditions. Or Jewish characters are supposed to be Sephardic, but they speak Yiddish, which they couldn't even get them to speak Ladino, and they play dreidel, which is a more Ashkenazi traditions, and the food that they choose to eat is Sephardic, but that's about it. I believe they eat buñuelos in the episode, and cool, but like, you gotta do better than that. And considering that Elena of Avalor and Sophia the First take place in a fictional world where it's mostly equivalent to real cultures, inserting the very real holiday of Hanukkah seems a bit weird, because, I mean, these characters don't even celebrate Christmas. but an equivalent. It surprised me if at least one kid watches this episode and leaves thinking Hanukkah was totally made up. Also, the idea that Hanukkah exists in this fictional world means that there is fictional anti-Semitism. There is an equivalent to the Greeks who took over the temple. And like, it's always so funny to me. There is history behind a lot of Jewish holidays. And a lot of these holidays focus around anti-Semitism. So you're directly saying anti-Semitism exists. Like, if you're doing a fictional world and you want to insert Judaism, literally there's Rosh Hashanah you can still do, head of the Jewish New Year, Yom Kippur, Day of Repentance, nothing to do with anti-Semitism, of course. You also have Sukkot. You even have Tu B'Shvat, which is the Jewish birthday of the trees. Judaism as a religion really fucking loves trees. We have more than one holiday about trees. And you don't have to get into the weird implications, and I'm probably overthinking this. And also, Elena of Avalor doesn't have the same popularity as Rugrats, as it's a Disney Channel spin-off show and not something more mainstream. Another show is Arthur, which had a holiday special showcasing different traditions, which included a part about Francine and her family celebrating Hanukkah. It doesn't get its own episode, but I know that there's an episode where Francine tries to fast for Yom Kippur. It's getting there. It's better than most. And the show is older, so it's not as culturally accessible to kids these days. I mean, I don't even know if they show Arthur reruns anymore, and most kids probably just aren't watching Arthur. So the Ghost and Molly McGee's Hanukkah special is really important. We need more shows willing to take risks and have these discussions and have episodes focus on non-white, non-Christian culture, and not many shows seem to be completely willing to do that. There are exceptions, but like shows that take these risks, especially with Disney it seems, tend to get a lot of backlash and be canceled prematurely. Kids these days deserve to see themselves represented on screen and see themselves represented well. And that's what I gotta say about that. Happy holidays, everyone.